Hey there tech fans, Rick here again with a full unboxing and overview of the brand new DJI Mini 2 SE drone. This is the latest drone in a long line of mini drones that DJI has been releasing over the last couple of years that all started way back 2 or 3 years ago with the original Mavic Mini, which was really the first sub 250 gram drone that had sophisticated features built into it. So it flew longer than other drones, it flew further than other drones, it had artificial intelligence built in where it could do automated flying patterns. It was just an amazing drone, and it blew me away at the time because you normally only find those features in really high-end drones that are much more sophisticated. So somehow DJI took all the technology they built for the enterprise space and their more sophisticated drones and shrunk that down somehow into a drone that weighed less than 250 grams. Now they call that category ultralight, and the reason that weight is important is because if your drone weighs less than 250 grams, you won't have to worry about registering it in the United States with the FAA. Now other countries, same thing. If it's under 250 grams, you don't have to take a test, you may not have to get insurance. It's a lot easier to fly a drone that's light like that. If you're over the 250 grams in the US, you'll have to register it as a hobbyist. It'll cost you $5. You get 3 years of registration out of it. There's no real hassle there, so I don't think it's that big a deal. But if you're flying in other countries, it could be a pretty big deal. You still in the US will have to take and pass the trust exam. Now I know that sounds really ominous, but the trust exam is really more like a quiz where you've got a bunch of questions that are really basic things about flying a drone. How high? How far? Do you have to keep your eye on it? Can you fly over people? Can you fly near an airport? You should know the answer to all those if you're going to put a drone like this up in the air. And the best part is, it's multiple choice, so you can take it as many times as you need to. You can try different answers every time if you're confused about a question. You can't not pass this test, I promise you. Anyway, take the test, fly the drone, have a little bit of fun. So going back to the drones, they've released 6 drones. This is the 6th one, starting with the Mavic Mini. Now what's interesting about DJI is they kind of leapfrog technology where they'll release the Mavic Mini, then they'll release the Mini 2, then they'll release something between the Mavic Mini and the Mini 2. Then they'll release the Mini 3 Pro, release a drone close to that. So they're constantly filling in the gaps on features and functions between the drones that are on the market today. And this one is a good example of that because they've released the Mini 2, which is a phenomenal drone. They've also released the Mini SE, which is a less feature-rich drone. This one fits right in the middle of those two drones. And I'm going to get into a whole difference and comparisons in another clip. But essentially, this one, the Mini 2 SE, is based on OcuSync 2 technology, which the Mini 2 is based on. Now, why does that matter? Because OcuSync gives you a rock-solid signal. It allows you to fly 10 kilometers, with the drone because that technology is so sophisticated. Don't fly that far because if you take the trust exam, you'll figure out pretty quickly you've got to keep the drone in visual line of sight. But knowing you've got that really strong signal means you're not going to have dropouts when you're flying around trees and other buildings. Okay, so the difference between this and the Mini 2 is basically the fact that they both use OcuSync 2, but the Mini 2 will give you 4K at 60 frames a second and video recording. This one records 2.7K at 30 frames a second and 1080p at 60 frames a second. So the difference between the Mini 2 and this Mini 2 SE is really the imaging package. Same flight time, same flight characteristics, just imaging package differences. The difference between this and the Mini SE is that the Mini SE uses Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, it's enhanced Wi-Fi. So you're still going to get 4 kilometers out of it, but you're not going to get 10 kilometers. And again, you can't fly that far anyway. But what it means is with the OcuSync 2, you're going to have a better connection signal in close, which means you're not going to lose that signal. So you've got to decide which of those makes more sense for you. But again, on this continuum of drones, obviously you start here with a really budget-friendly drone and work your way up to things that are closer to actually enterprise-level drones. This one fits, again, between the Mini 2 and the Mini SE. So in case you're comparing them together, those are the 3 you want to look at. Now I'm going to spend some time in a minute and tear open the box because I haven't flown this drone yet. I haven't even opened the box yet to look at what it looks like inside the box, but I've flown all of the other mini drones on the market today, and there are really 2 categories of airframes that DJI's released that are pretty similar. Everything up to the Mini 2, I'll call Generation 1. Everything past the Mini 2, the Mini 3 Pro and the Mini 3, are Generation 2. What I mean by Generation 2 or version 2 is the airframes are different, but more importantly, the way the batteries slide into the drone are different, so you can't really intermix batteries between those 2 variations. With this one, you've got the Variation 1 build in it, which means the batteries are really, really similar. The only difference between the batteries in the version 1 is some of them are lithium polymer, and some are lithium ion. This one is lithium ion. So not that that matters to you because the battery chemistry doesn't really dictate much about how far you can fly it or how many times you can recharge it. You're gonna have this drone way longer than you're gonna have to worry about batteries going bad on you, but that's the difference between them. This fits into that version 1. So if you've got any of the other version 1 drones, whether it's the Mavic Mini, the Mini 2, the SE, or this one, all four of those use very similar batteries that I'm pretty sure you can interchange between them. Now, I'm going to do a ton of testing to verify what you can do between the drones, but my initial suspicion is based on the battery chemistry and the capacity, probably swap those batteries in and out between those different drones. Beyond that, the drone itself looks a lot like the Mini 2 to me and the Mini SE, which were similar airframes. And until I open it, I really won't know. So let me stop talking about speculating and just open up the box and show you what it looks like. So here's what you get. This is the basic kit, which includes the drone, a battery, the controller, the cables, a few other goodies in there, and I'll give you a picture of all those in a second. But they offer this a couple different ways. This is the Mini 2 SE basic package. They also offer a Fly More combination, which I always like the Fly More combination because what you get with that drone is a charging hub that allows you to charge 3 batteries in succession. You also get extra propellers and a bunch of other things that you're eventually going to buy anyway, because I promise you, once you put this drone up in the air, you're going to have so much fun. You're going to race home, you're going to get on your favorite site, and you're going to start searching for extra batteries, extra propellers, all the things you're going to need to spend more time up in the air. So if you're thinking about this, maybe you start here, maybe you start with the Fly More package, but my recommendation is the Fly More package is a much better value. So if you're thinking of between the two, go with the Fly More package. But I'm only going to open this one because, again, I've got 4 other versions of this drone, or 3 other versions of this drone, and I've got plenty of batteries, plenty of charging hubs, and plenty of extra propellers. So let me open this guy up. Now, the box is pretty straightforward. It looks like, you know, it's set up for retail. It came in shrink wrap. I took the shrink wrapping off. Let me just pop the bottom. There seems to be a little seal down here at the bottom. Let me open that up. And then I don't know how, oh, there, it just pops open like that. So this is always exciting for me because even though I've flown every drone in the Mini series, anytime I see a new drone, when I meet it for the first time, I get really excited. So let's take a look and see what the Mini 2 SE looks like. Oh boy, we're gonna have so much fun with this drone. All right, so there it is. There you go. Now, if you've seen some of the other version 1 drones, again, the Mavic Mini, the Mini 2, the Mini SE, this looks very similar to those drones. And it's a beautiful looking craft. Really, really nice looking craft. DJI has done a phenomenal job building a drone that just looks like it wants to fly. This thing looks like it wants to be up in the air. It doesn't look comfortable sitting on the desk. It's almost talking to me saying, Rick, get me up in the air. I want to fly. So I'll get it out a little bit later today and we'll fly that drone. But man, beautiful drone. Let's see what else is in the box. All right, so there's a holder for the drone. Below that, you got a desiccant package. I always say throw these out, or if you're careful, save these, put them in a Ziploc bag, throw it on top of your refrigerator, because if you ever get electronics wet, you can throw that electronics, a phone or whatever, in the bag. The desiccant will pull all the moisture out of that device and probably save your device. But if you have kids, throw this out, because man, this looks like something a kid would want to eat. So get rid of the desiccant package. All right, in the bottom, there's a box that's blocking everything. Let me pull that out. All right, ooh, so that's probably accessories. And in the very bottom of the box with a little molded holder down there is the controller. Now the controller is the standard controller used on the Variation 1 drones. It was used on a couple other drones too. The Air 2S used it, but it's the RCN1 controller, which you'll need to use a phone or a tablet with to actually fly. So the controller comes like this, and basically this top part pops up. You put your phone or your tablet in here. Typically, it's a large phone. It'll hold all the bigger phones that are out today. You really can't hold a tablet in there without an external bracket to hold it, but it does a real good job of holding phones. And you're thinking, hey, where are those joysticks? There's no joysticks on there. They hide them on the bottom. So if you're going to pack this up for the afternoon, you can pop your joysticks on the bottom, and it's a nice little package. You can slide it into a backpack or into a case. There's nothing to snag on anything. But if you want to actually use it, you got to pop the joysticks out. They screw in up here. Now for me, I leave the joysticks in all the time because I have big, goofy fingers that look like little sausages. And if I try to take these joysticks off in the field, they're going to pop off. They're going to fall in the grass, and I'm going to spend 2 hours trying to find the joystick. But anyway, do what you think is best for you. I love the way this feels in your hands. It's really well balanced. Joysticks fall right below your thumbs. Everything just works really well. You've got video, photo and picture. I should say photo and video up here to start your pictures. This is for your gimbal control. You've got a return to home, a power button on the top. Just a beautiful looking controller, but that's the RCN1. It's pretty standard, and that's been out for all the Variation 1 drones. All right, so let's see what else is in this box here. I dropped the desiccant. All right, be careful with that. Pick that up later, I promise you. All right, so in the box, I got a lot of stuff. Let me just dump it out here, and we'll take a look at everything that's in there. All right. What else is in there? Anything? Oh, a bunch of manuals. All right, so that's it for the cardboard. Wait a minute, there's more stuff in here. I almost missed it. All right, good. Isn't that it? Yep, that's it. Okay, so let me get the boxes out of the way. All right, the first thing you'll find is a ton of manuals. Now, DJI is one of those companies that really wants you to understand the benefits of the technology. So there's a quick start guide if you're in a hurry to get outside and fly it. Don't be in a hurry to get outside and fly it. I'm going to say that right out of the gate. This is a very sophisticated piece of technology, and even though you're as excited as I am right now to get outside and fly it, read through the manual because there's a lot of things you need to know about how to protect the drone when it's up in the air. For example, where's the pause button? If it's flying towards a tree, where's the pause button? It's in the manual. How do I return to home? I lost my drone, I gotta get it back home. It's in the manual, so read through the manual. There's a battery safety guide, and there's another guide here for accessories and other safety guidelines. So just read through all of these things because you're dealing with, again, a sophisticated piece of technology that's using lithium-ion batteries, and that chemistry can be a little bit squirrely. So understand what you've got in your hands before you put it up. This will take 10 minutes with a cup of coffee, and you'll understand the drone really well. All right, so what else is in there? Well, there's a spare set of propellers. That's really handy because this doesn't have crash avoidance built in. So this thing, if you fly towards a tree, it'll smack right into the tree. So just be really careful when you're flying in an area where there's a lot of bramble and a lot of tree branches. Just be smart and keep it away from those trees until you get really good on the joysticks. But anyway, you got extra propellers. They even give you a little Phillips head screwdriver, which I think is a really nice touch to allow you to change those propellers easily. Now, they're simple to change. I will tell you, if the first time you're flying a drone, there is a personality to these propellers. One set is clockwise and one set rotates counterclockwise. So it's really important when you're changing these that you match up the clockwise with the clockwise and counterclockwise with counterclockwise. And if you get them wrong and you put it on the wrong motor, what's going to happen when you try to take off is the drone's going to go whoop, boom, like that and flip over. So if it turtles on you, you know you messed up on the propellers, but just be careful when you take them off. The other thing I will tell you is you'll notice there are a pair of propellers here with screws in the bag. And you might be thinking, why do I need those screws? Well, there's Loctite on the end of the screws that hold the propellers on. So when you screw them down all the way, that pressure inside there actually generates that stickiness for the Loctite and holds that screw in because think about it, those propellers are spinning like crazy up in the air. You don't want those screws working loose. So when you're changing the propellers, throw out the old propeller. Don't change just one propeller, change them as a pair. Throw out both propellers, throw out both screw sets, use the new screws and the new propellers. You'll never have a problem, I promise you. And it's rare that you got to change a propeller. All right, what else is in the box? Let's see. All right, we got a charging cable right here, which is a USB-A to USB-C, which plugs into the back of the drone and allows you to charge the drone. The controller also has a USB-C connection on it, so you can use this to charge the drone, or the batteries, I should say, in the drone, or the controller. There is no charger in the box, so you're going to have to use a USB-A charger. You want to get a charger that's at least 30 watts or higher. So typically phone chargers might be below that. You want to check your charger to make sure that the USB output is 5 volts at typically 2.4 amps and at least 30 watts or 35 watts. You can't really put too much current into it, so if you have a 65 watt charger, it'll work just fine. But you want to have at least a 30 watt or higher. You can use this to charge both these devices. Also included are other connection cables. I didn't mention this, but this controller actually has a connection cable right here that you'll have to connect up to your phone. So when you connect your phone or your tablet up to the unit, this plugs into your phone. Now right now, the Apple version of it is plugged in. You'll put your phone in here, this plugs into your phone, and then you're gonna wanna run the DJI Fly application. You'll register your drone with DJI so they know you own it, and give you a choice to buy some warranty replacement technology or coverage if you want. But anyway, that cable is the Apple version. These two cables are both a micro USB for the older phones and a USB-C for the newer phones. So if you have an Android phone, the USB-C is probably what you're going to use, probably a micro USB as well. But anyway, if you need to change the cable, they give you all three cables. So it works with pretty much every phone that's on the market, but always check the specifications. And before you make your purchase, think about it a second. Try and download the DJI Fly application on your phone and open it up. If it loads and it opens up, pretty good chance your phone is going to be compatible with that controller, because some of the older phones and some of the versions of the operating systems may not be as friendly to the DJI Fly application. So just take a few minutes and do that. And that's all I really wanted to talk about here. Now, the drone itself is ready to go. The batteries are inside the unit. Let me open it up real quick. They've got a cover on the propellers. There's all kinds of stickers on this drone, so you got to make sure you remove all the stickers. There's one sticker. Here's two stickers. Let me get those guys out of the way. All right, so the propellers are ready to go. There's a sticker on the front holding the gimbal guard on. That's sticker number 3. What else have we got? There's a sticker over the battery compartment in the back. That's sticker number 4. Let me open the two arms. They swing out like this, and the bottom ones go down and away like that. Like that. And again, when you're opening those arms, always hold on to the arms all the way through the end of travel, because when you get to about here, you're going to feel it want to snap open on its own, and it'll work okay for a couple of times, but if you let it snap open on its own all the time, eventually the torque from that momentum of the thing moving is going to actually crack the casing down the bottom there. So you want to always hold it till the end of travel so that kinetic energy doesn't transfer into the joint and crack the joint. All right, so that's what it looks like. To remove the battery, you'll pop the top open like this. There's the battery. And the charging port is back here as well. That's a USB-C port. Again, you can use the cable to charge it. To the left of that, or the right of it, depending on how you're looking at it, there's a micro SD card slot. That's where the memory card fits into the unit. And that's the battery right above it. To remove the battery, you'll push up on this little button right here, and then pull the battery out. And that's what the battery looks like. And again, it's a 2250 milliampere hour battery, 7.7 volts. Not that any of that matters to you. You're going to charge it. You're going to charge it and fly the drone. And if you get the Fly More combination, you'll get 2 more batteries and the charging hub, so you'll have 3 times the flight time. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the specifications now, because that's pretty important as well. The drone itself will fly for 31 minutes on a fully charged battery. I'm going to pause there for a second. 31 minutes. Think about that. Most other drones this size, 10 minutes, 12 minutes at best, and that's sort of optimistic. 31 minutes is optimistic as well, but I fly all of their mini drones, and I'm telling you, if you tell me it's 31 minutes in the book, I'm going to get 25 solid minutes of flight time. So you're going to get a lot of flight time in the air. You're probably wondering how far can it fly. This is based on OcuSync 2 technology, which is a proprietary technology from DJI that was developed in-house, and it's unique in the market. There isn't another company that uses a technology like that, but that OcuSync 2 technology is a frequency hopping technology that's constantly checking the signal strength between the controller and the drone, and it's got the best possible connection frequency locked in where it's talking to the drone, but if that gets busy or gets noisy, it's got other frequencies it can jump to make sure that that connection always stays solid, and that guarantees a flight distance of 10 kilometers. As I mentioned before, you can't fly 10 kilometers unless you're Superman, because you have to keep a visual line of sight on your drone, and I promise you, a drone this size up in the air, you're not going to see it any more than 2,500 or 3,000 feet at best. Maybe you put a beacon on the top, get a little bit further out of it, but anyway, knowing you can fly 10 kilometers means that when I'm in close, like I said, I've got a rock-solid signal if I've got trees around me or buildings or Wi-Fi interference, so it's really important that you've got that great connection signal. You're probably wondering about the imaging package. The unit itself sports a 3-axis stabilized gimbal, and that's what makes it unique in the space. A lot of drones in this category have electronic image stabilization with a fixed camera, which means the camera is going to move when the drone moves, and the drone's going to move a lot in the air because it's going to get buffeted by wind. Electronic image stabilization tries to fix that by moving the frame around inside the actual image it was taken. With this one, you've got a 3-axis gimbal that's constantly counterbalancing the movements of the drone. It's going to give you a rock-solid picture up there in the sky to give you exactly what you need for a video or an image. It's a 1/2.3-inch sensor, which curiously is the same exact sensor that was on the original Mavic Mini and the original sensor that was on the Mini Pro, the original Mavic Mini Pro that came out, not Mavic Mini, the Mavic Pro that came out years and years ago, which was really the first foldable drone. So same sensor, not quite as good as the sensor in the Mini 2. The Mini 2, again, will record 4K footage. This one records 2.7K at 30 frames a second. It also has a different, I believe, image processing system inside than the Mini 2. The Mini 2 transfers data from that sensor back to the imaging processing at 100 megabits a second. This one's 40 megabits a second, but for me, 1080p at 60 frames a second is perfect video. I use 1080p for most of my filming when I'm up in the sky, unless I'm doing large commercial work for clients that need the 4K or need higher resolutions, perfectly fine. So if you're looking for a drone, take on vacation, get some great vacation photos. Maybe you're using it to do some surveys or you're doing some roof inspections. This is going to work just great for you. Don't worry about that. All right, so what else do I want to talk about? Oh, the imaging. So the RCN1 controller to your phone will deliver a 720p live feed back to the controller. So when you're flying, you're looking through the camera of the drone and you're getting the image that's coming through that sensor. So you're going to see what the drone sees, which is great because it's going to allow you to fly where you need to fly, frame that shot perfectly. And having a 720 feedback means if you do a screen recording right here, you're going to get pretty good quality on the controller, but it also gives you a crisp image so you can make sure that you've got your framing exactly where you need it to be. It's got a level 5 wind resistance, which doesn't make any sense to me because I'm laughing because a level 5 wind is a really strong wind. I'm not saying go out there and test it, but if you get out there and you fly a little bit higher and the wind kicks up, you've got a lot of wind resistance built into the unit to handle that level 5 wind. Earlier drones like this that were small, if you put them up in a level 3 wind and the wind blew, that drone would follow that wind all the way to the end of the earth. You would never see it again. So with this one with a level 5 wind, I can fight that wind a little bit and I can drop down if I have to fly back home and not have to worry about it. So what you've got here is really a drone that weighs less than 250 grams, which relieves you of the pressure of registering with the FAA and taking all kinds of expensive tests in other countries, but it flies like a bigger drone. So you've got a small drone that really gives you the features that the bigger drones have and the flight characteristics and the imaging quality. And the last thing I'll mention about it is that DJI's built a lot of artificial intelligence into the Mini 2 SE. And what I mean by that is the first time you fly it, maybe not the first time because you want to practice a little bit, but the third time you fly it, in the application, you can hit a single button and have it do automated flight patterns, where if you're standing there, it'll see you, it'll circle you. So it gives you the beautiful view of all around you. You can have it fly away from you and elevate up in the sky. You can have it do all kinds of other tricks. You can take panoramic shots where it's going to give you a 180-degree view of whatever you're looking at. So if you're on vacation in Hawaii and you put the drone up, you can get that beautiful volcano on the one side all the way across the landscape to the other side of the island. So there's a lot of automated features built in. And the reason that's important is because it's going to take you a while to get good, especially if you're new to flying drones. It's going to take you a while to get good to fly the drone. Why don't you just use the automated features, and literally within 15 minutes of flying the drone, you could be taking some amazing footage up there in the air. And those are all the things that you would normally only find in a much more sophisticated drone. And DJI's built them into the Mini 2 SE, which I think is absolutely incredible. And that's really all I had for today. So hopefully you found this unboxing and overview helpful. I promise you I have a lot more clips that I'll be doing, comparing this to other mini drones in the series, talking about some of the features and functions. I'll be talking about a lot of the accessories that are available for this drone and the other drones. But for today, I just wanted to give you the unboxing and overview so you can see exactly what's included with the package and get a general understanding of where this fits in that long line of lineage from DJI and their mini series. I think it's a great looking drone. I think it's perfect for new flyers, or even flyers that have a bigger drone that are looking for a smaller one to pack away in their suitcase when they're heading off on vacation. So anyway, thanks again for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the clip. And until next time, as always, happy flying.